The light bulb. It shaped modern day life as we know it and is one of the most important inventions of the Industrial Revolution. I'm going to tell you why everything you were taught about Thomas Edison is a lie. The question you will need to ask yourself is, why did the government and our history books lie to us about the light bulb? Why was it so important to keep the American people in the dark before the internet made information accessible in the early 2000s? The light bulb allowed for safer working conditions and made the Industrial Revolution possible. With light, after sundown, cities became alive. A new industry was born, entertainment, and people wanted to go out at night, and they wanted to have a good time. Incandescent brought light into your homes, into your theaters, the libraries, the pubs. Light bulbs, they changed the way we work, the way we live, and the way we play. Our history books have taught us that Thomas Edison invented the light bulb in 1880. Our history books are lying. Alessandro Volta, an Italian physicist and chemist, proved that electricity could be generated chemically and invented the Voltaic pile in 1800, which was the first form of incandescent lighting. 2 years later, in 1802, Humphrey Davy used the Voltaic pile to invent the first electric arc lamp. Scientists were making improvements and beginning to understand electricity. Before incandescent, cities across the globe used glass lamps to light their streets and their homes. There were well-established global gas corporations with stockholders selling and making money on gas. In the late 1800s, the gas companies had an all-out global war, calling it the Battle of the Lamps, to prevent electricity from invading their cities. Obviously, the gas companies, they lost this war. There were hundreds, maybe thousands of scientists on both sides of the Atlantic experimenting with solutions to manufacture a commercially viable light bulb, something that can be sold and monopolized. There were conventions in Paris in the late 1800s where scientists would travel by boat across the Atlantic to showcase their advancements in electricity, light bulbs, and batteries. Scientists competing, yet learning from one another, sometimes stealing from one another. Warren de la Rue, he developed a light bulb in 1840, but he used a platinum filament, and the high cost of platinum kept the bulb from being a commercial success. In 1841, Frederick de Molines of England was granted the first English patent for an incandescent light bulb. Henry Woodward and Matthew Evans, they earned the Canadian patent for an incandescent, but they didn't have any money. You can't make a light bulb without money. They sold their patent to Thomas Edison. American J.W. Starr, he received an English patent using a vacuum and a carbon burner for an incandescent light bulb. This was before Thomas Edison. J.W. Starr, he was said to have worked himself to death and nothing progressed with his light bulb. Heinrich Goebel, while living in New York, he developed incandescent lamps 20 years before Edison, but he did not see a world market for his invention. The man did nothing with it. Moses Farmer, an American inventor but a major alcoholic, he died sitting in his chair right after he developed a working light bulb, again before Edison. Another New Yorker, Jim Fuller, he worked in secret and was found dead by his assistant sitting in his chair at the final touches of a working incandescent, again before the Edison lamp. William Sawyer, he patented the carbonized filament light bulb before Edison, and he sued Edison for patent fraud, but he died of alcoholism in 1878 while waiting for his trial. There were many lawsuits and many deaths in regards to a light bulb. Thomas Edison's American patent for the incandescent was awarded in 1880, but the American Federal Circuit Court revoked it in 1890. If his patent was revoked, why would the American grade school history books teach us that Edison invented the light bulb? You see, in 1850, Joseph Swan began working on the light bulb and had a working bulb by 1860, but it didn't last long enough. He also needed a better vacuum, a way to remove the air inside the bulb. And in 1865, Hermann Sprengel invented a pump which used mercury to reduce the amount of air in a chamber. It wasn't until 1879, 14 years later, that Swan applied this technology to the light bulb. It took Joseph Swan 29 years to invent a commercially viable light bulb, and Swan's home was the world's first to have working light bulbs. The Lytton Field Library in Newcastle was the first public room to have electric light. The Savoy, an art theater in the city of Westminster, London, was the first public building in the world to have light bulbs. The Swan light bulb was a success, and Swan Electric was founded in 1881, manufacturing light bulbs. By 1883, after a few more lawsuits, Edison and Swan actually merged their European and American companies. Together they manufactured Swan's design for a light bulb, not Edison's. In 1882, Edison's factories made 100,000 light bulbs. By 1900, 8 years later, the Swan Edison factory made 45 million light bulbs. This was the beginning of an international cartel that sold light bulbs, a cartel that became General Electric. And we will explore that story another time. All of these brilliant men, except Edison, made improvements upon the light bulb that came before them. Thomas Edison was the showman, he was the wizard, and the newspapers called him so. Edison was the very first man to ever see his name in lights, because he put it there. The Edison myth is that he invented the light bulb. Edison's innovation was making electric lighting practical for everyday use with a lighting system that linked the English dynamo, which is like a generator, a battery from the 1800s, a system that supplied electricity and can distribute electricity. Edison had the financial backing and the financial district of the biggest city on earth. And the cities across America were screaming, "Electric light, we must have it. Electric light, we must have it." Like for real. It became a race, a status symbol where towns and cities across the country and the globe competed for the privilege of being the first in their area to gain access to this new technology, electricity. So in conclusion, Alessandro Volta, he invented the incandescent light in 1800, and Sir Joseph Swan invented the incandescent light bulb that was commercially sold across both sides of the Atlantic in 1880. Thomas Edison did not invent the light bulb. Thomas Edison made a fortune selling the light bulb. Our government and our history books, they lied to us because of greed, because they wanted to sell electricity and they wanted to sell light bulbs. And the Edison name helped them accomplish their goal of tricking you into thinking it's a product you just throw it away. Something you buy over and over again without thinking twice, with no concern for the negative environmental impact. In the 1900s, electric companies were the most powerful corporations in the world, influencing elections and the American people. General Electric is the godfather of planned obsolescence. So there you have it. Over 200 years of bright ideas, lies, murders, untimely deaths, and lawsuits. August 23rd of 2023 was the last day the iconic incandescent could be purchased and sold. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you missed the old-fashioned incandescent bulbs, if you think the switch to LED was the right move, and if you think the major brands in lighting are still making light bulbs as throwaway products. Don't forget to like, subscribe for more lighting origin stories. Thank you.